Hello guys, it's me, Greed here. Listen, I want to talk about Greed's Law today, which is something I named because I forgot the name of what it was originally called by the Street Fighter guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling it Greed's Law because I'm a narcissist. Anyway, basically, the concept is that players in a competitive game or environment will always, without fail, choose the path of least resistance when it comes to winning, regardless of if it's fun or boring. Meaning that if there's a broken character, people will play it. If there's a boring meta that always wins, people will use it. If there's an exploit that breaks the game, people will use it. There is nothing you as a dev can do to stop people from choosing the boring option that wins the game in your competitive game. And that's especially why I argue for the characters that need to be meta to be characters that are inaccessible to the majority of players. Therefore, it keeps diversity in your game, right? For example, if you've got a character like Tracer and a character like Mercy, Mercy isn't like this brain damaged character, you just pick him and win. But, and compared to Tracer, they are a brain damaged character, you just pick him and win, right? Which is a good reason as to never allow Mercy to be hard meta, but to allow Tracer to be hard meta, because Tracer is substantially more difficult. They require more skill in every aspect. She's an inaccessible hero, meaning that not everyone can just pick her up and use her. Unlike Mercy, where it doesn't matter how good you are at the game, the strength of Mercy is likely going to come from her damage boost, most likely. Therefore, every character, no matter your skill level, can effectively apply damage boost onto a target. Now, the better players might do it better, but no matter what, the damage boost will be applied in some sense, meaning that because of her ease of accessibility, she's never allowed to be meta. That's why I say things like Winston should be meta, Ball should be meta, Tracer, Genji. People are gonna be like, you're the Genji guy, you're the Genji guy. I'm the fucking Genji guy, okay, I'm the Genji guy. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like Soldier, absolutely can be meta. Kree, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not after Season 9. Because he gets so... Right, if you look at it this way, where does a lot of McCree's power come from? Obviously, his left clicks are very strong. His fan the hammer is insanely strong. You don't need any skill to use that. His roll is very strong. You don't need skill to use that. His damage resistance on his ult is very strong. You don't need skill to use that. And hinder is very strong. You don't need skill to use that. So the only skillful part of his kit, the left clicks, which are strong, would mean that if you were to allow the character to be meta, you would almost certainly have characters or players that aren't good at McCree abusing like fan the hammer. They would hinder fan the hammer everyone, right? Because that's the most accessible part of their kit. It's the reason why when Genji's good and shit Genji players are playing the character, the vast majority of shitty Genji players are poke bots or dash right click melee bots. They don't do anything else. They go low HP target, dash melee guy. I'm gonna stand here and poke, dash melee. Do you know what I mean? No matter what you do, no matter how you design your characters or your game or your balance, whatever, players, no matter what, even on the most complicated characters, will find the easiest way to play them and will abuse the shit out of any broken mechanic the character has. Therefore, the only thing stopping your game from becoming insanely stale very quickly with a meta is by allowing the best characters to be the hardest to play, but also the most rewarding. However, every character should follow that principle. There shouldn't be a hero in the game where you cannot carry on the character, right? If you want to play Lifeweaver, you should be able to carry the game on Lifeweaver. But with Lifeweaver's current design, I don't think it's healthy for the game to allow Lifeweaver to carry, because all of his actual strength comes from the fact that he's insanely good at denying, and he's essentially just a giga heal bot, right? And even though his heal's not even that good right now anyway, but you wouldn't allow it because so much of the meta would then just evolve into, can he deny plays faster than the enemy team can create plays? That's not a healthy meta to have. It's the same reason why Kiriko should never be meta. The Suzu is too strong. If you're too bad to hit the kunais, people will heal bot and Suzu and TP backlane to save people all day. People will choose the lamest way to play this game. You cannot avoid it. Which means you have to design your game so that the most boring thing a character can do, it's still at least partially interesting. Unlike how Overwatch has done it, where it seems like they've almost intentionally made it as boring as possible. The vast majority of the characters in this game, and especially the ones they've added, if you're just going down the path of least resistance and trying to do the strategy that wins, so many of the heroes in this game have such a fucking brain-dead gameplay loop when you're choosing that path of least resistance. For example, if you're a McCree, you just play fan the hammer bot in the front line. You just fucking fan the hammer on the tank all day. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're playing Sojourn, you just stand in the back of your team, build up rail, and shoot the tank. Is it super effective? Absolutely not. Is it fucking brain dead and requires no skill but does receive value? Absolutely. These characters shouldn't be allowed in their current states to be good heroes, because they fucking ruin the game, right? Now, obviously, Tracer's really, really good right now. Tracer's really good, especially in the high ranks. And she is a little bit oppressive in the high rank. However, you have not seen Tracer farming the entire ladder like Sojourn has the entire time she's existed. Or like Widow has the entire time she's existed. Do you know what I mean? You are not going into gold and some gold Tracer player is hitting some pine fucking double blink, ka-chow, shoot you in the fucking brain, take your head dome off, recall, and shooting the guy, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't happen. The character's too difficult to play. They aren't accessible to the majority of players. And even in GM, the character's so difficult to play that although they're technically oppressive, you can deal with them because there is so much human error in playing Tracer. That's why you want things like Winston to be meta. Can Winston be oppressive and broken and overpowered? Absolutely. Is he incredibly easy to play and get value out of? Absolutely not. Even the best Winston players in the world can sometimes make mistakes. The difference between jumping perfectly and landing 2 meters in the wrong area or fucking up your melee on your land is the difference between winning a whole team fight and losing it in some cases, right? Oh, obviously it's rarer, but you know what I'm saying, right? Whereas when you have a character like Lifeweaver that's meta, all you need to do is, can I life grip him at an okay enough moment to deny value? And if you answer yes, well then you just get your shitload of value. There's no skill check. It's literally just, can I react to this thing fast enough? Which means it should never be meta. That's why Kree meta sucks. That's why Sojourn meta sucks. Widow meta sucks. All of it is garbage. But Hog fucking sucks. What is the easiest thing for a Hog to do? The easiest thing for a Hog to do is just spam at the tank, hook the tank all game, and just shoot him in the fucking brain. What is happening in Gold when people are picking Roadhog? They're just shooting the fucking tank all game. Because they don't need to do anything else. Oh, is it... Now, would it be more valuable for him to go flank or get an off angle and get a big hook and kill someone and go for big plays or whatever? Absolutely. 100%. However, if you suck ass at Hog, well then you're just going to shoot the tank all game. And is that really effective? Well, yeah, it is. Well, then everyone's just going to do that. And that's why every tank player against Hog right now is like, this is boring. It's the same reason Ramatra players, all they do is poke with their staff, I'm in danger, block, because it's the path of least resistance. It's the lowest amount of skill checks for the most amount of value. People will always, no matter what you do, I can't reiterate enough, people will always choose that. No matter what. Okay? And that's why it's so tilting when I see them trying to make characters like Sojourn to be balanced. Right now, here's the thing, right? Sojourn's design, in my opinion, people may disagree, is fucking terrible. It's really bad. I understand the idea. She's a mobile, burst damage, railgun character that's like a bit of a bullet hose. I get it, right? I understand the design. I understand what they were going for. However, in my opinion, the design is bad for the game. If you want to have a hero that's poke-based, that's I'm going to stand away from you and shoot at you, it should be very susceptible to people being on top of them. Oh, whoa, Sojourn's getting dove? Let's give her a perk that gives her an extra slide, so that if she slides and they chase her, she can slide again, right? They are directly getting rid of the weaknesses of these characters, which is obviously bad, but the overall design of the character is terrible regardless. So if we're gonna have a meta, it should consist of the hardest heroes to play every time. At no point should an easy character or a character with easy parts of their kit be strong. You need to avoid it, because otherwise the game gets really boring. That's why you had double shields for so long. That's why you had goats for so long. Although, goats was one of the only metas that kind of broke this loop, because a gold player ain't playing fucking goats. You know what I'm saying? That was probably one of the only times where the meta was genuinely so inaccessible for the vast majority of players that we got a meta that was only accessible by the top players. That and like early dive. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. Anyway, I love you all. Mwah. I love you all. Have a good day. Eat some delicious soup. Maybe do a push-up or two. Goodbye. Have a good day. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.